got to make sure it's muted.
And we're live. Welcome to the Michigan Bros Grow Show. It is episode 266 with Russ and Emily, aka Spartan Grown, Nut Tree, and Terai Sumobi joining us later. And Anything Grows, I guess that's her alias too. And it's me for Girly. Hey, what's up, guys? Happy New Year, 2025.
Happy New Year, man.
I guess we're already like practically halfway through the month, but this is the first week flew by and then it got really cold, and it's just, I looked at the weather forecast, it's like freezing for 6 weeks, so it's like winter has finally come.
I'm ready for it to be gone.
Oh yeah.
I get irritated when I talk to GML and Mandy, and they're north of us in Canada, and they have way better weather than me. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, they are in a very temperate place, though. I mean, yeah, if you wanted to be anywhere in Canada, it'd probably be for weather-wise, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But still, it's wild because I'll be complaining about snow or whatever, and oh, we wish we had snow. I'm like, no, you don't. Shut up. You wish we had snow.
Maybe you're a skier or something.
Yeah. It's and it's not coming. I mean, we're getting snow. I don't know about you guys, but we're getting like 1 to 3 inches at a time, and we've gotten that a few times now. But I'd almost rather it just be like just bring on like the 14 inches. You know what I mean? Like, let's just load it up here.
Yeah, there was more snow down in Cincinnati than there was in northern Ohio. You know.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. I just feel bad for the west side of the state. They always get hammered.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Seems like Battle Creek area, there's like must be like a snow belt down there. You know, just I don't know, along I-94 they're always getting blasted with weird kinds of weather, and then
I'm only a half hour from Battle Creek.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course Gaylord just getting slammed with records this year.
That's great records. Yeah.
Was it this month or last month? I don't even know anymore.
I don't remember, honestly. No, I think it was last month because my mom was talking to me about it for Christmas. So I think it was
okay. Yeah, but they broke some decades old snow and temperature records, I think.
Yeah, my mom's up there by West Branch, just north of West Branch. So she's, I don't know how far Gaylord's probably about another half hour, 45-minute drive from there, maybe north.
Yeah, probably 45 minutes at least, right? Is it it goes Grayling and then Gaylord, right? I always get them.
I always get those confused, man. I don't know. I always do that.
Something about growing up and traveling up I-75 and seeing them both and just never knowing what's what, because I'm not driving that, for 20 years, I guess 16 years, whatever, like.
Unless you live up there, like I lived in Kalkaska, which you had to go through Grayling to get to Kalkaska.
But you're also not. I mean, did you grow up traveling through there though? I think
I did go canoeing up there a lot as like a 16, 17-year-old. I started canoeing up in the Asabo and the
nice Manistee or
Manistee
Rifle or something. Yeah, nice. Two great rivers.
Oh,
beautiful area.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to contain my cough because I've had a cold since the beginning of the year, and like it's finally in a place where it's like manageable, and so I'm like dabbing and like not regretting it, but then I'm like, oh shit, we've got a mic going. I'm sorry.
Just here to use the button, just it's fun.
I'm not joking though. That cough part, it took me out for like more than a week. I mean, it was awful. And like I've got this like pulled muscle in my rib from coughing so much. Kind of miserable. Like I can barely like lay down. Like I've been having to like use a pillow to like sit up and everything because it hurts so bad.
Have you guys ever had like coughing injuries like that? Because I've definitely strained like my neck back here from just like turning weird after taking a dab, coughing, and just being like, oh no, God, what's that?
Okay, so I went to urgent care and got an X-ray because so it lined up with, unfortunately, last weekend, I got into a little collision in a Meijer parking lot. And the side that the guy had hit me on was the driver's side, but like
Interesting.
further back on the car, but still the driver's side. And like no injury really, just a dented door, unfortunately. But it's like the side that got hit is like the side that my rib is really hurt on. And so like a few days go by, it's not getting better. I can barely take a full breath. It hurts. Like it feels like it's stabbing. And he's like, well, maybe you hurt it like or broke something in that, you know, little car accident. And I look and there's like no bruise or anything. So I'm like, no, probably not, but maybe we'll go look. So they do an x-ray, like the doctor comes in and he just like touches it. And I'm like, can you stop, please? That's right where it hurts. He's like, we're just going to get an x-ray and look at it. And he said it's like bruised or pulled with the muscle. So thankfully there's no like bone damage, but it hurts like a bitch. Like I've never coughed so much. And it feels like all of my muscles, like I feel like I've got a 6-pack right now. I've got abs feel. Like
I always say dab coughs are the best ab workout. I mean,
and I'm like trying to control them. I'm trying to control them so that I'm not just like hacking up right now because it hurts. So I'm trying to like hold them in, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's tight right here. We're going. Made up for all of the sweets from the holidays real quick.
There you go.
The only story I have similar to that would be a bad hangover the next day. I was puking a lot and a bunch of blood vessels popped in my face and it was just like terrible. It's another reason I enjoy cannabis way more. There's no hangover with cannabis.
Yeah. Oh my God.
At least
okay.
There are times you wake up in the morning though, and you took an edible or RSO too late, and you wake up and you're kind of like, wait a minute, hold on. But,
I'd rather have that hangover than
yeah.
alcohol hangover though. That was terrible.
Puke into your blood vessels break. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
God damn.
Was your face just all red, or was it like actually like did it look like a bruise, or?
It was red, and you could see like like spider webbing in places where around my eyes. I looked like death. It was terrible.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Oh, shout out to Becca and yeah, 2 weeks left. Free baby. So very
close.
tired.
So close.
Becca, I hate to break this to you and be the bearer of bad news, but the tiredness is just beginning.
Welcome to the next 18 years.
Yeah. Oh.
And more, if we're honest. Yeah,
Hey,
we're very excited about that.
On the show today, she needs to talk about, it was called Cortez.
Yeah, I was on Conversations with Cortez.
Yeah.
It's Cortez and Kiana Alicia are the hosts, and they do Sundays at 4:00 Eastern interviews, and it's only an hour long, which I thought was like super cool. A little, nice, little different from the regular normal 2 hours here. But yeah, it was great. We got to kind of just hit a bunch of different topics. We talked about like what I've been doing with Puff Puff Pondercast, different things with just like how I got, into cannabis and everything. And then I also got to share something which is really exciting. I'm a collaborator with the Bite Me Cannabis Club, which is hosted from Margaret, who does the Bite Me podcast about edibles. So that's some more information I'm hoping to get out soon. Right now there's like a wait list that you can join. And then there's going to be different events and things like that, because it's its own type of forum on its site. It's like its own website, which is pretty cool. So it's a lot less censorship.
Yeah, that's what's cool. Some of the creators are like, she's trying to create a space to have, this can't be shut down to, for content. It's not owned by somebody else. So I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, as soon as I Googled it, the website came up, and that's how you know it's like, okay, they're trying to do something. It's not just like on YouTube or on Instagram or something.
Yeah, she's been working at it for a little bit, trying to put this into place. And really kind of ramp it up with joining the club itself. There is going to be a free access, but then there's also going to be things that you'll subscribe and pay for on a monthly subscription to be able to access some of the classes and courses and live events that are going to be hosted on like a monthly basis.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. Right now I have my first event that I'm hosting for Thursday, January 30th. It's going to be from 8:30 to about 10 o'clock Eastern at night. And I'm going to be hosting a little bit of a like craft night, just to kind of get introduced into the space and see how things go. And I'm going to be hosting like a 2025 vision board craft night. So, if you want to come and join, you can get some of your own items if you want to put together a board. You can do it online through Pinterest if you don't want to actually sit down with some glue and some markers. But, you can smoke and
Some crafts time. Some crafts.
All right, I found this on their website. It's the best edible dosage calculator, and it very much intrigued me. Can we do this real quick? You guys want to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
All right. So obviously we're using wax or oil, right? How many? If we say like a small home grower, like one of our viewers or something, it's got a batch of oil. How much do you think they have on their hands? Maybe they pressed out some rosin or just like made some some R, not RSO, but like ethanol or something, and then they, not hot bath, but maybe like evaporated off a bunch of the
Just let it sit in a shallow pan with a fan over it for days.
yeah, there you go, that kind of thing, low and slow, that kind of thing. No sparks, no fire, no boom, boom. Dude, it's safe. Let's just go with 14 grams. Why not? Or should we go lower? 7, 14, 28. What do you think? I think 28 is a lot.
Do you know where they measured by grams when you using oil? I don't know.
Wait, how much RSO do I put in something
Yeah.
when I'm making? Oh, let's think. Okay, when I'm using RSO to make cookies, the molasses, I'll do 3 grams. I'll do 3 grams to like 24 cookies.
Okay, so let's go with 3 grams then. So 3 grams, and then THC. I'm going to go with my magic number of 65%. CBD is usually like 0.65. Oops, I can't even go that low, so I'm just gonna say 1.
1. Cups of oil.
What are you using? Butter?
I would use molasses, and it was 1/3 of a cup.
Can we do
It
quarter?
doesn't change. What would you change that to? So
Let's make them high dose. So we're going quarter cup.
okay, quarter cup. Oh, I didn't see there wasn't a drop down that showed up for us.
Yeah, if you click on it, you can.
Yeah,
select
it only
there's-
shows the one that's selected. So yeah, quarter cup is good.
Yeah, because there's no third cup. So if we go less, well, that means that we're getting a higher dose. So it looks
Right.
like we got a total milligrams of THC of 1,950. That's pretty solid. Got that 30 of CBD in there. Our total milligrams of THC per tablespoon of our molasses would be 487.5, which, what is it? A tablespoon is what, 15 grams or milliliters, right? Am I right on that? Because a teaspoon is 5, I believe.
So the total milligrams of THC you would just divide by your servings that you have, you come out with, and that's what you're going to get per serving.
So the 487 divided by 20.
Oh, they even have the creating
Okay.
portions, and so you just got to keep scrolling.
Wow.
So tablespoons of oil in our recipe. How many did you say you used?
That whole 1/3 of a cup.
1/3 of a
Yeah.
cup.
Well, we're gonna go back to, I guess, 4 tablespoons.
No, I think it's 1/3 of a cup. Go back up to where you selected 1/3 of a cup. It gives us a quarter. Okay, so it's 62 mils at a
quarter cup.
So just go down to it says 62. You're right, close.
Yeah.
To that. Perfect.
As close as we get, I think. Servings, you said, let's say 24. So now we've got about 80.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
solid.
I would say that's good. Yeah.
Nice.
They explain the math down here too. It's it's a pretty simple equation when it comes down to it. What I like to think of is like, say we're going to keep numbers simple here. So say I have 10 grams of oil.
Yep.
That's after I've decarbed it even. I consider that 6.5 grams of activated oil or 6,500 milligrams of THC. So if you make 100 cookies or whatever, it's 65 milligrams per cookie, right? you want to change the dose up, you just got to change that formula, replace the value of X or whatever. So now and that could be either side of the equation. Maybe you want to do it by cookies. Maybe you're like, oh, I wanted to make 60 cookies, but I actually made 48 because I made them bigger than I wanted to, right? Well, then just plug in the math, you know what I mean? Because you're starting with the same amount of one thing, and that's THC in this instance. And whether or not you make them huge or small, or you make a bunch of them or a ton of them, or only a handful of them, all you got to do is divvy that up that way, one way or another. So it's kind of 3 numbers you have to plug in, but that's if you go with 65%. That's my magic number.
I think that for the math that I've done, because I had, when I first started infusing things, I had a couple of my cookies tested. And so from there, I based it off of just how I felt after eating a cookie, and tried to figure out the milligrams from there. And then you told me the math of something, and I don't remember the math of it, so I would just ask him again, depending on how much RSO I used. And it always was like, okay, well, that one was definitely a lot stronger. I would definitely say that was 100. And then when he would help me, figure out the math for it, it was around that. It always seemed to equal about that. So I think I don't know, like where the 65% comes, like for you necessarily.
Lab testing.
Okay, yeah. See,
that's my oil too. You know what I mean? Like you could be using distillate that might be 98%.
Well, I've been using his RSO the entire time, trying to test it. So it felt safe to be able to go off of my feeling, because at that time, I wasn't taking the dosages that I'm taking now, or the frequency that I'm taking now. When I was first kind of trying to test that out, so to have that first initial, here's a test that says exactly how much is in that, and it was like 48% or something like that, 48 milligrams or THC. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I would say that's like 50. I would say that was definitely about 50, and I would agree with that. So from there, then the next time I'm like, okay, if this is the amount that I used of material, if I do increase that, but I keep the exact same size number of cookies from that recipe, because I know what that recipe yielded, I felt like I was able to say, okay, I know this went up 20, 30 milligrams. So I can safely say it's still under 100, but more than obviously just that 48 that we initially started at. So I think just having, like, being able to have an initial test is super important if you are trying to dose it, even just for yourself to go off of, or to be able to tell a friend, like, hey, by the way, this is about, 75 milligrams, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not lab testing it, it's a guesstimate, but I've done it enough times that I know it's going to be pretty damn close. You know what I mean? So, hey, buddy, welcome.
What's up, Rod?
Hey guys,
Happy New Year.
Like that outside.
Here, don't let me distract you. Keep talking. I've been listening. I've been farting around with stuff. I turned off my computer and everything reset on me.
Oh no! Oh no! Actually, we had that issue on variables last week.
Yeah,
it's just it's like sometimes it's a turn it off, turn it back on, and it fixes everything. Sometimes unplug it, plug it back in. Sometimes it's like a BIOS update, and yet because it's 5 years old and now things are not compatible, and it's like uh-oh.
And here I'm finally running on a computer and not on my phone this time. So
yeah.
And I got another screen with this chat pulled up, so we're good.
You look great, man. You look great.
Thanks, guys. What's up, Dankman Dan? Good to see you in chat.
Yeah, it's good to see Dankman Dan in chat.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the comments pulled up. Oh yeah, there's a whole nother world out there. Cheers. Holy
hey,
shit.
but make sure they're what, Red? Make sure where are they at?
And what chat should they be?
I mean, it depends on what kind of device you have nowadays. It's all chat.
No, it's been so long you forgot.
My phone. There's no such thing as a live.
Used to have a sign.
I don't do the live chat anymore because Apple got rid of the live chat and they're, so it's top chat, it's all chat or top chat or all chat or something like that. I don't have a live chat.
Dude, did you know some channels won't even let you switch from top chat? Like there's some channels where it only allows top chat messages. There's not even a settings to switch anymore. It's freaking ridiculous.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, mine just has the all chat option.
Hey, all chat sounds pretty cool too.
I chat, you chat, we all chat.
all the chat, all the chats.
A little chit in the chat.
I love it.
How's it going, Red? How's the garden?
You popping any seeds yet? We were talking about that today. Like, oh,
Well, we've got microgreens growing. We were eating out of our garden today.
Nice.
Dude, sunflower microgreens are fucking. It's like my new joint right there. That's
New jam.
fucking good, man. Let's see here. Mustard greens, arugula, broccoli, and cabbage. Put a little bit of the broccoli on some fish. We had the in-laws over, Becca's family came over today for some dinner. They brought some stuff over for the baby's room. Dude, shout out to everybody. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, but I'm overwhelmed with gifts. It's been I'm blessed, to say the least. Fortunately, Becca's mom just had a daughter pretty much just after COVID, and so she's only a couple years old. She's like 3 or 4 years old, but they still have a lot of her stuff, strollers, and we almost got her crib, but she's not willing to give up her crib yet. So we did get gifted a crib, and Mama Red and Daddy Red, and they've been fucking hooking us up with stuff left and right. And we're ready, man. We're prepped and ready to go. So that's the next big thing in the garden, is growing this baby. Becca's been kicking ass. I don't even know, man. It's quite an amazing feat what women go through to keep a child for an extended period of time. Almost a year is a crazy amount of time. Getting kicked in the fucking ribs all the fucking time, dude, and yet nourishing and giving a loving home and a cozy, comfortable, safe. She drives and picks up her siblings and shit. Yesterday was like the last time she's done it, but she's getting ready to have a baby in a couple weeks. Be out on the road, risking it. You know what I mean? All that stuff for livelihood, family, and I give it up to everybody. All of our moms, everybody, man, everybody and fathers too. We put it in too. You know what I mean? But it's not like that, dude. I'm not getting kicked in the ribs like she is.
yeah.
I'm not, and so I give it up to that. It's been a wild experience. It's flown by, but it's a long amount of time. It's a big amount of time, and the garden, we're keeping it up, but I'd be lying if I say it hasn't been neglected. You know what I mean? This year, overall, the progressive nature of the farm has definitely been neglected. It's not necessarily been put on the back burner. It not necessarily has been left behind by any means. But I'll tell you what, we have a lot of more focus. Like many people probably living in this lifestyle, if you were to just drop everything and have somebody who's not allowed to be around cannabis, for example, just show up at your house and you got weed everywhere, you got to clean up. Sometimes it takes an afternoon to clean up when you got the little ones coming over, your brother's got kids or something, they're popping by. But this is like somebody coming and moving in. And for all safety purposes, and not to mention for all legal purposes and just everything involved, there's a lot going on trying to, let's just say, remodel, right? We're literally having to remodel the entire house in like a short period of time. It's things that we've wanted to do and have slowly been doing it, but
now you have to.
building a business obligations have been my priority and our priority for the last couple of years. When it's time to, when we got a little bit cushion, it's usually time to invest in something for the business. You know what I mean? It's rarely time to invest in something like new piece of furniture, cabinets, even things that will add to the equity of the home has been put on the back burner. I've been investing in things that in my mind add to the equity of the home, like healthy soil, maybe a greenhouse that maybe we could sell with the house, things like that. But that all is elsewhere. I mean, our family, you know, we bought property, and I've been working on that, and that's like an hour away. So I spent a lot of time out there. In fact, I stayed the night out there a couple nights ago, and Becca stayed home. So we've been, I mean, she's even been having to do some of this by herself, you know, because I'm gone. Sometimes 3-4 nights I'm out there, you know, working and away from home. And so trying to not have to do too many of those like fireman shifts while the baby's here. So I'm trying to get it all out of the way as much as I can. But with that being said, yeah, I mean, once the baby's born, Becca will be again. We'll both be, you know, as attentive as we're gonna have to be for both the farm and the baby and the lifestyle. So it's full steam ahead around here, to say the least. We have our microgreens going. It's a diversification in our micro farm. Something to get us through the winter. We actually have a couple clients, a couple you know, people who buy from us through Becca's in-laws or through my in-laws work. You know, it's pretty cool, man. People are shopping local, supporting small businesses, and doing the thing, and we're able to keep cruising and staying afloat. Even through, I don't know, I mean, the cannabis industry is cruising right along as it goes, but it's definitely not what it used to be. And so, I mean, we're just trying to find our best way to find a niche in not just, I suppose, the garden, the cannabis garden, but in the farming community just as a whole. So we're starting seeds. Becca went through what we have because we're doing another plant sale this year. As in, we generally will have like clones and things like that available for outdoor, but you know, our tomato sale, we sell tomato plants, pepper plants, herbs, flowers, all kinds of stuff. So we run we do farmers markets, we sell stuff at farmers markets. So things are getting, or at least organized right now. Becca audited what we do have and what we need to get. We'll be placing orders for seeds, but we have some things like onions. I would say if you're getting anything going, food crops, it's a good time for onions right now and to get those started indoors. It's a good time to get, you know, some flowers if you're looking for like pest prevention, you know, good oil makers, rosemary, you know, it helps prevent and repel ticks and all kinds of things. It's really good to plant a good rosemary at the base of your cannabis plant. It's a good time right now to start a rosemary seed.
Those herbs seem to always take very long for us too. So, you know, it's germination, the vegetation, like rooting, everything just seems to go real slow. So yeah, those were one of the first ones that came to mind today. I was like, oh yeah, let's probably get going on those types of like herbaceous, loving, you know, delicious ones.
It's winter, and you know, cilantro is a good thing to grow right now, and lettuce, and like I said, we're growing microgreens and things like that. And lo and behold, a lot of the microgreens are also cold weather crops. You know, a lot of them are brassicas and things like that. So I mean, you're talking like if you wanted, you know, a more robust, you know, vegetable, you know, a broccoli is a good thing. It's still probably too early unless you have like a little greenhouse or something to really plant it in outside, because we ran into that issue last year. We were like, let's get ahead of the season. We've got some cover. We'll put the broccoli in. But we didn't get it outside in time, and it just got too big and leggy inside. So that's the thing you need to be careful. If you're like trying to jump ahead of the season and even plant, getting your cannabis going, if you have a good indoor veg space, maybe start some cannabis seeds. Maybe they're going to get fucking huge if you're cutting them back. Hydro, you could keep them small, you know, and keep them in small pots or something if you really wanted to, but it doesn't hurt to wait a couple more months at this point. Tomatoes, same thing. Peppers, sometimes they take a little while to germinate. You might be able to get away with, I'd say, mid to late February for peppers, but we're gonna wait on tomatoes this year till like the end of March, early April. I mean, our tomatoes got so big last year because we planted them in like the early March, and we did it for our plant sale and for us, and we have a little bit of cover. We can put stuff out at a decent time, but the problem is with a plant sale, I don't want to sell plants to somebody before plants are really ready to be outside. They risk dying really easily. You know what I mean? And that just, whether or not it's whose fault it is, I want somebody to have a great experience with our plants regardless. So I try to not even offer our plant sale until the end of May, after the threat of frost. Getting into June's a little late, but like the last couple weeks of May, and it's really just a couple weeks of a thing that we do.
Have you guys started onions?
We haven't started any ourselves, but Becca's been going through the seeds, and we were just actually talking about starting onions.
Are you thinking of starting from seed?
Yeah, and I haven't had good luck on onion. We have all kinds of green onions. We did really well last year with leeks, bunching onions, and a couple other green type onions. We have a lot of chives that are just wild back there. Like garlic chives grow in abundance just everywhere back there. So that's kind of a cool thing, and they'll grow all winter long. If it's not, it's 8 degrees out and it's really hard as like ice is concrete out there right now. They don't really grow in this shit.
No,
as soon as it melts, dude, they're like back up 30 degrees. Boing. Go ahead.
Starting onions though, you should start, if you're growing from seed, you should start in January.
They just take a really long time to grow.
Okay.
And so what you can do is when they start growing, it's kind of like grass. They start growing up. They'll start to get a second set of leaves and almost bend over, and you can prune them back and you can cut them back, and they'll like get a little bit more robust, and it helps them. And what they'll do is they'll form into little onion sets. You'll start to get your little onion sets early, and then you can plant them.
That's what I've grown from. So last year I had really good success with the little bulbs that you get in the bags, basically. And I did white, red, and yellow, and they all took so well. And like I had a lot of space for them, but I realized that I didn't keep it weeded enough. And so like a lot of grass took over. And so there were a few on like the edge and the border that ended up getting pretty thick, but most of them didn't necessarily. And so I was wondering, like, do I need to just start those earlier, or if it was just a weeding thing? And that's what I'm thinking, because I've heard a lot of people say start onions from seed in January, but I've never done that. So I don't know if would it help if I started the bulbs indoors, or would that just be too big to transplant then?
Yeah, the bulbs generally, like the onion sets. Onion sets are generally planted just directly into the ground.
You're gonna wait until like April.
You don't, yeah, and that's because it's already a small onion and it's already like kind of ready to go. You know what I mean? It's gonna grow really fast.
If I have those sets to like start though, and I start those indoors, is an onion strong enough? Because like a carrot, you can't transplant once it starts growing. You'll get a long
probably grow an indoor onion. I don't know if it's gonna transplant well though, because they start to go like halfway out of the soil when they get big, and generally they're ready by like June, and they grow really fast once they do start growing. But I've never successfully grown a single season onion. All of our like big onion, like slicing onion styles have always been second season onion. Like we try starting the seeds early one year and they just flop, they just don't grow, and we're like whatever. And then all of a sudden the following season there's a giant onion growing in the place where there was last year, and we're like so I don't know if we're getting like the wrong kind of onions. Like here's the thing, there's 100 varieties of onions when you get into it, and there's so many varieties of all kinds of plants. And when you go to the grocery store, there's a red onion, but there's like dozens of red onions you can grow. And seasonality, agricultural zone or latitude, all of these different things are going to affect a varietal, basically like growing sativas here in Michigan is hit or miss, right? It's an extended seasonal plant. You know, so many plants in the plant kingdom just are totally different from each other. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, onions, yeah, maybe a nice, good, robust onion, and on average is probably a good thing. But, you know, maybe I'm getting the wrong, maybe I'm messing with heirlooms too much, right? Maybe I need to go for a more conventional type of
I feel that sometimes.
you know, like, yeah, and like sometimes heirlooms are great flavor wise and they're really good, you know, visually and aesthetically. Sometimes they really help with pollinators or something like that, but there are limits to them when you talk about, like, the reason that they're heirlooms is because they haven't really been worked with, you know, more stock. You know, they haven't been worked, and so we have found seed company. I mean, we go through Johnny's is a really good seed company, and they have like different types of resistances. For example, you know, you can get tomatoes with certain blight resistances. Some, I wouldn't necessarily call them GMO because a lot of them they're selected varietals, right? Same way we do with cannabis. But they'll have whatever resistance built into them, and still be organic, non-GMO. They're worked lines. And so I would definitely suggest, if you are getting into vegetable growing or anything like that successfully, like you actually want to have you can successfully grow some stuff from a box store. But I know, like, a lot of the vegetables that they grow at the box store is it's whoever's working in that department placing an order for vegetables, or the distributors just shipping them stuff expecting it to sell. I don't know how much forethought actually goes into regional supply, regional zoning and things like that, and the types of plants that they're getting, and if they're actually because from my knowledge, like, the same plants as they sell here, they sell in Florida at a box store. You know, I could be very wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of pushes me more towards people like M.I. Gardner, because I know he's breeding plants right here in Michigan, and that's where plants, you know, stuff like that. Try to get like more of a local seed source.
No, he what's really cool is he just picked up like a big acreage, which is really nice for him. I think he's on like 13 at the moment, with like another 30 or 20, making it 30 or 40 in total. And he's doing a preservation project with like apple varieties and fruit trees and things like that on a chunk of it. But another chunk of it, he is doing his own seeds, and he does do some of his own seeds right now, but he does also import. He imports from a lot of small farmers, which is really nice. Other places like Baker Creek and a lot of big seed, Johnny's, I'm sure as well, does the same, where they will buy bulk seed and just get it wherever they're able to get it. And so a lot of it does come from, a lot of seed just in general comes from overseas. It's regionally, you know, different. So if you're able to do research on the seeds that you get, just like cannabis, try to do some, you know, some box store brand stuff, some stuff that you get has very little information on it. Maybe there's ways to look up some better information for it, but those are that's some little ways just for success, because so many people get turned off of gardening because the plants just don't grow. My brother's always like, it's just not growing. What can I do? I'm like, throw up some compost. He's like, man, I was giving it leaves. I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm like, I got plants, you know. He's like, yeah. And so I always try to give him some plants. Sometimes I don't get a chance to get over to him and give him some. I gave him some seeds and stuff last year, but he didn't get a chance to get any of our plants last year. He went to, I think he gets like 4 for $4 or whatever it is at the local nursery, and they just don't grow for him. I'm like, you're getting little scraggly, you know, pod plants. They're, you know, they get fed hydro, and you're trying to put them in your soil, and it's just, you know, it's a little bit of a learning curve that the plant has to go through, and it's just not able to keep up. He's like, no, you know, it's got to work. You know, it's the plants work. They've worked before. And so, I think that what goes there is like, I think that you can get some good plants from those box stores, but they need that extra delicate. They can't be overran by any weeds or anything like that. They are, if you're putting them into a soil, they need they're gonna have that slow down. Yeah, man. It's that season, so we can keep rolling with the cannabis talk, but I'll talk about vegetables all day. It's a totally different world because of the everything's so different. It is very interesting how everything really kind of works on a Fibonacci, not just physically, visually, like the way it grows, but like running the 3-6-9 interval, like harvest windows, flowering times, cannabis average flowering time is like 60 days, lettuce average growth time 60 days, chickens 60 days, fish 60 days. Like so many things grow and mature in 60 days. I think that dogs actually their gestation time is 60 days. So yeah, maybe look into the number 60. But that's a pretty interesting one when you get into it. And then like the longer flowering plants, brassicas and stuff, more like a 90 day. So there's that interval of 3. And then you get into, potatoes and stuff, and you get into like 120 days. Your carrots 120 day time. So it's like 60, 90, 120. And they're average numbers, right? It's not an exact number, and these are just somebody coming up with these numbers for average dates to maturity, but nonetheless pretty cool.
I got a question for you. Does 73 mean anything to you? I did a lot of mathing on a calculator today with only resulting in the number of 73, which is really
that's a prime number, isn't it? I think 73 is a prime number.
Seems like it could be. Yeah, it definitely seems like it could be.
Yeah, I think it is. But if you add 7 to 3, it makes 10. That's pretty cool.
It's a 1.
And if you split 10 and a half, you get 5, which is the other side of the equation. What I was doing is I was looking at 365 days in a year, even though it's really 365 and a quarter, which I tried to start doing that math too. But then it's got
4 and a quarter.
Say again?
Is it 364 and a quarter?
No, we have an extra year or an extra day every 4 years.
Yeah, so it's 365 days in a year plus 0.25.
I'm all about going back to moon cycles, man. Let's do it. 28 days a month. Add another month. Let's take
that damn they want. It's supposed to slow the Earth's rotation a little bit by a fraction.
Yeah, let's slow that rotation down. We're going fast. I'm aging too fast.
Yeah, I think we'd have to redefine a lot more than just the months. But the reason I came up with 73 because I'm like, what's how can we get like a set number, like the same number of days in a month, right? And I know you talked about 4 weeks. I don't know if that works out.
It's a lunar month.
We could go on the lunar calendar, and I guess that's a different calendar. But I'm just thinking of like
restricted to the 365.
Well, I was just trying to make an even number of days in a month because I'm lazy and I don't like thinking about whether it's 28 days, 29, 30, 31 days in a month, And I'm like, how about we just have even number of days in every month? And I'm like, you'd have to have 73 days and it would only be 5 months to really kind of get that even number. Then I thought about the quarter day and
it's not even an even number. It's an odd number. 73 is odd.
I know, but you multiply that by 5 and what do you get?
It's going to be another odd number.
You're saying 73 days in a month?
I mean, I'm not necessarily advocating it, but it is 73 times 5 is 365. We're still have that quarter of a day left over.
For my house payment once every 73 days. Assuming that,
but it would be like 2.5 times the amount.
Go up? I really gotta be. Yeah, you gotta really know your booking. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I think the lunar calendar probably makes more sense.
What if each month was a season? So it was as long as the season, and there was only then 4 months in a year.
The problem is not everyone has 4 or 5 seasons or 3 seasons, or some people have 1 season. You know, like.
Well,
That'd be terrible for budget.
I live in the Midwest. I experience all 4 in one day sometimes.
Exactly. A little different from like San Diego, who's 65 and sunny.
I guess so.
364 days of the year. Tara, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Say, what's up, Tara? She's been sitting there forever.
Cheers, guys. How are you?
Good. How do you feel about the days of in the month?
You know, I work so much that I don't, and growing commercially, kind of the whole month disappears before you know it, you know?
73 days of flower? Where
Yeah,
we
I'm
go?
like, what day is it again? Which room are we in? What's going on? Yeah, sometimes it's funny because I never realized that Dan, shout out to Dake Man Dan, when we were at Freedom Green, we'd look at each other and we're like, can't believe the fucking day just went. I mean, just like that. I mean, it would be gone. And it's the same now. I mean, I just get to work, and before you know it, my day's over with, and it's time to hit the hay and start it all over again. So I don't know. I'm easy on the days of the month kind of thing. It all kind of washes out at the end, so to speak.
Fair enough. How are the flower rooms going right now?
Good. They're doing really good. We just brought down some fresh frozen the other day for another
Nice.
round. We just had rosin hit the market.
Nice.
I haven't got my hands on any yet because the one that I really, really wanted was the banana fire breath, and it's a sativa. So I'm like, ugh. I really want to taste the terps. So I'll probably suck it up and get it, but it's a bit pricey right now. So
What
we'll
size
have
of
to-
grams, or what are they?
It is
2.8
it's a gram, and depending on the dispensary, I found one dispo that I was able to go to get an industry discount of 30% off, so that was nice. But it's like hit or miss on places in Ohio that have discount kind of situations. So kind of been watching for it. It just literally hit the market last week, so it's really fresh and a bit pricey for me right now. So we'll see. But I am definitely excited to try it.
60 grams, $60 a gram. Or what?
Actually, it's like $85 a gram.
Steve.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah,
that
there you go.
might
There's
be
some
wrong. It might be
82.50.
even a little bit more than
Well, then you
that.
got to add all the taxes.
And then you have to add the taxes. So I
Look at that. That's for a 0.84.
yeah, but they're also selling half bags for $220 and for garlic cookies and getting it.
110 for 0.9.
So
Of course, they have 20 in stock because it's 110 a gram. They're gonna have to keep those staying in stock at that
Yeah,
price.
and it's just, I guess everybody's got to start out somewhere. I guess that's just, I don't know. I don't know how to
Yeah, make their investment
justify.
back
I can't justify
Yeah,
that right now.
you better.
Just because of my situation and who I know and where I can get it from. And I did pick something up. I went to a dispensary on Friday on my way home in Milford, Ohio, Uplift. Really nice. I was really taken aback though because you got a beeper. It was definitely a waiting system, which I've not been to a dispensary where there's been a beeper system before.
Is it that busy?
It was that busy. I waited.
Yeah.
I probably waited anywhere from, it was probably maybe 10, 12 minutes maybe that I waited, which I wasn't.
Milford, is that close to the Kentucky? So people from Kentucky coming up, maybe Indiana.
I would say from where Milford is to Kentucky is probably about 35 minutes. There's closer places downtown actually for them. I wouldn't say they're coming to Milford, but it's a brand new place. Really nice location. Staff was great, knowledgeable. I definitely want to shout them out. They were on top of things. Were able to tell me about the product that I was wanting. I didn't I didn't ask that many questions. I wanted to see what I could get from them. And they did tell me a lot of the things that I like. But I went ahead and I've already smoked it all, so I can't even show it to you. because I was bankrupt and I was just.
What was it? I can pull it up on
So
the
it's Motor Breath that I picked up, and it's from Clutch. They did a collab with Josh D. This is the jar of it. So it was a live batter, wasn't a rosin. I wanted to I don't know. I just kind of really wanted to see where I'm really wanting to see where everything is right now. This is the second time that I've gotten something from Clutch. I did try one of their carts. I was very, very happy with it. And that's a lot for me to.
Uh-oh. Do we lose them?
Come back.
Her weed was so frosty they froze.
Ah, they're back.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It was really stanky. Definitely
Yeah.
motor breathy. Taste was a little not motor breathy for me, except on the exhale. So I definitely think that there could be room for lots of improvement kind of thing on that aspect of it. There was a bit of a chemically kind of taste that I did get from it. Not overwhelming or anything, not to say that I would never buy that again because I did get that, but I definitely distinctly knew what this was. But maybe that's just because it's me and everybody knows that I love this stuff. So.
I want to show the kind of warning actually at the bottom of this. It says not recommended for new medical patients. You see that?
Yeah. So, okay. Ohio is very on top of their warnings. They like to, and honestly, I personally don't think this is for a new smoker either. I definitely would not recommend just Joe Blow that's never touched cannabis before to go buy a jar. I would not ever do that.
You never smoke weed? Well, try a dab.
Yeah, I would never do that. So I'm okay with kind of that.
Why not?
I say for it. Go straight in.
I don't know. I'm more of especially.
Didn't your dad ever throw you into the deep end to teach you how to swim? Damn it!
Yeah, but that's the mom in me coming out.
Yeah, but look at
mom through the life jacket. It's like, hurry up, get in the boat.
I'm more of like Troy's shirt. That's kind of like my yeah. Let's just do.
Becca threw Daddy Red into the deep end. Oh, I haven't seen Daddy Red in chat yet, but she gave him a dab on her Dr. Dabber, and oh man, he was coughing, and he was asleep in like 20 minutes, and oh yeah, I got him.
He was in chat. He was in chat earlier.
The other day, his son comes by, and he's like, "Oh, you want a dab before you go?" And he loads him up just a normal dab for us. And I walk in, and he is dripping. It is drenched, and I'm just like, "Are you okay?" That was good. I was like, "What the hell?" And afterwards, he told me it was like, "Oh, I gave him our size dab, not his size dab." Well, he's gonna have a great time at work.
Yeah, I don't know. I like people to ease into things. I don't want them to be too overwhelmed that it might shock them that they don't want to ever do it again either, because I've had a few people that have done dabs and they're like, fuck that, I'm never doing it again. I just coughed a lung up, and I'm like, whoa, maybe the temp wasn't right. There's lots of things that, could be tweaked here to make it more enjoyable for you.
If you're dabbing somebody for the first time, then are you going to choose to cold start it or
100%.
Okay.
100%. But that's honestly, recently, my son's friend, Dylan, he'd never done a cold start. And I told him, I was like, let's do this. I was like, just bear with me. Let's do a cold start. Tell me then what your experience is. He's been dabbing for a while now. And he was like, oh my gosh, I got so much flavor. And I was like, exactly. I was like, you never got that much flavor because you're burning it so hot. It's just going, whoop, it's gone. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes just reining it in just a little bit. You don't have to do a half gram or a gram to get what you want to achieve. I feel like either. I get really blown out by
with a quarter gram.
Dabs. What'd you say?
You can totally do it with a quarter gram. It doesn't need to be a half gram.
No, it doesn't.
All I know is that I will go hot and heavy for them, and I'll finish it if they can't.
That too. I will definitely always finish your dab if you can't.
We don't waste around here.
That Vegas.
No, we are not wasting dabs.
I'm curious what if it's a vagus nerve thing, because like greening out's a real thing with not really having a tolerance and going down like past like fainting. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely gotten there. I don't know if it's like I'm around a bunch of people and you start. I don't know if it's like a panic attack and then the vagus nerve kicks in and you're like, and my nephew's young, 21. It's about to be 22. It's fucking crazy to say that. You know what I mean? But anyway, he came out to a Third Eye Craft Fair, brought one of his buddies, and we were smoking, I don't know, Citrique, I think. And it's sativa, and it went around about 3 or 4 times, and they had already like made their way around the craft fair, went to all the tables and came by. And this poor dude, not my nephew, but his buddy, stiff as a board, just went over, you know what I mean? And fell down, and I thought he was having a seizure. And so like I started going into like seizure protocol, grabbing his head, moving him around and making sure he's not choking or anything. And come to find out, he has no history of seizures or anything. He greened out. And like I've seen it more than a few times at these events. And usually it's like, give him some water, some CBD, let him sit down for a few minutes, and you're just like, you got the shakes for a little while. You feel like you haven't eaten. A lot of it has to do with you're not eating, but I don't know what's going. I do know that like cannabis does some things with your sugar, right? And psychosomatically, you could give yourself a panic attack. You maybe never had one before. You don't know what it is. You're thinking too much. People around, and then all of a sudden, an overdose.
Can I say what
it's the vagus nerve? Maybe THC affects the vagus nerve. I don't know.
Personally, for me, I think it's a lack of oxygen. And often, well, not often, but I notice that when I've experienced it, it's can likely come from when I'm sitting down and like smoking a bowl or a dab, right? And then I get up and walk somewhere. So that to me tells me it's like blood flow oxygen. Doesn't have anything to do with like panic attack or anything like that. But I find more than once that when I've been on that edge of greening out, I'm at a door frame. And it's because I got up and walked somewhere, you know what I mean? Or I'm walking to something. Or I'm like, oh shit, let's balance this.
Is that different than the dizzy spell you get like when you get up too fast?
It's kind
no,
of
it's because it's that closing in like a panic attack, but it doesn't feel at all like a panic attack. It's just like, oh shit, that's the weed.
Yeah, it gets me. I mean, I recently just got an Apple Watch because I was kind of starting to get a little freaked out because my heart rate was going up, and I'm like, well, fucking A, what the hell is it going up for? And then I'm like thinking back, what I just smoke, how much did I smoke, how fast did I smoke it? That right there is key. With me, if I like smoke a lot and smoke it real fast, panic attack and freaking out, sweating.
I mean, you ever smoke a cigarette and you smoke that real fast? I mean, you're gonna give yourself the same kind of rush.
I had a bad experience with chewing tobacco and smoking a cigarette, and I don't know which came first. I don't know if I put a dip in after I went and I had a cigarette, or if I went and I had a cigarette after I had a dip in, but one or the other, dude. And I was in trade school, and like every hour we got a break and we got to go out and whatever, just go get coffee, whatever, a 10-minute break. And I was a smoker, so I'd go smoke cigarettes. Well, I was trying to quit smoke. I was trying to not smoke so much during school, and I was dipping during school, and I wasn't going out on the breaks. It was like the middle of winter or something like that. Well, I decided to go out and have a cigarette. It must have been, and then I put a dip in or something. But I remember getting really hot. I was wearing a hoodie, and I was just sweating, dude. You're just pouring. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I had to go to the and I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. And, like, I'm not going to, like, die in the middle of class. You know what I mean? I'll at least go, go sit on the toilet or something like Elvis, And so I'm going down the hall, and the hall just getting longer and longer and longer. And I'm like, oh, no, and I could feel that feeling. And it was like, it wasn't a fainting feeling. It was this feeling you get when you overdose on nicotine. and it's kind of like a fainting feeling, but it's like a deathly fainting feeling. But yeah, Emily, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's like a terrible head rush, man. That nicotine overdose.
I know, like it gets you straight to your stomach at the same time. Like you lose it. I can't handle that. Like I'd much rather smoke a joint straight through than ever do that again.
I don't
It's
even
rough,
think I
but-
could smoke a cigarette, even if I tried to. I don't know.
No, I mean anymore I wouldn't be able to either, but
Yeah, no, I don't even think I could put it in my mouth.
Yeah, I got no desire to smoke anymore. Believe it or not, I smoked for many years after that. I think I was trying to quit smoking during that one time, and I was like dipping or something, and I don't know.
Edibles will usually get me really, really fucked up. I know over the summer, my daughter and I went to a Reds game, and I ate like 200 milligrams and climbed up into the nosebleeds, and I freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaked out bad.
Why would
I
you-
was crying. I was like, you got to get me fucking down from here. And then I'm like thinking, is it because I'm afraid of heights now? But the older I've gotten really afraid of heights. And then I'm like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, God, I got to tell my kid this. And I was like, I'm really fucked up on edibles right now. You got to get me the fuck down.
Where were you, Tara? You were.
I would-
We were in a Reds game.
Oh man, dude! Stadium seating is like climbing a ladder, dude.
I couldn't see the people below me. I think
Oh
honestly
my
was my
God.
problem. All I could see was like the couple people in front of me, and there was these kids that kept climbing over each other, and all I could see them
I
is
know
going
that
over the
feeling.
edge. And I was just like, "This is
You know what?
too much."
It's the heights, but it's also the vast open space.
Yeah.
And what Troy was talking about, the rivers and canoeing and stuff earlier, and I've experienced this a few times on my kayak in the middle of the lake with, doing like a 2 or 3, 4 day trip, right? So I got like 400 pounds of my kayak, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of this lake. Yeah, it's a couple hundred meters that way, a couple hundred meters that way. I have no idea how deep it is. Holy shit, I'm high. If I tip over right now, this is really bad, guys. Yeah, you freak out a little bit. I think it's the vast open spaces though that'll get you,
Yeah.
or it's
Okay.
just the new setting too.
But at the
You can
same
get higher
time,
new
though,
settings for sure.
when you get that feeling where you're like, oh shit, I could freak the fuck out right now, doesn't that also ground you a little bit?
Yes, that's why I like sativas.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
It does
That's
not
the
ground
tangible
me at
anxiety,
all.
man. You
No,
know what
it-
you're in for. I love it.
No,
The
it
worst-
works more for me. So it's got more of
Now,
I'm
okay.
bad for
You ever
20
drink
minutes.
it in
And
the
then I'm
mouth?
okay.
Tara, like what I'm wondering though, like when you start to feel that edible and you're like, oh shit, maybe I took too much. Do you spiral into the I'm only getting higher, I'm gonna get so sick, like or does that kind of help you regain a little bit of balance in it and be like, oh shit, I took an edible. I know it'll be okay. It might be a wild ride, but does it give you any sense of security? Oh man. I'm so
No, because
sorry.
my heart rate goes up. And that's
That's
one of
okay.
it's not with me because so like I have a heart problem where
Mhm.
my heart rate will go up into like the 200s. So to me, it's my brain telling me, "Oh fuck, that SVT's kicking in." You might have to go to the hospital for this one.
Okay.
You know,
See,
I know after like it's just I'll like call him and I'll be like, you gotta talk to me. Just keep talking to me. Just keep talking. And as long as you talk to me, just keep me right here with you. I'm good. And it takes me
What do you want to talk about?
It's not about that. Just fucking talk, I don't care what you talk about. You can talk about nothing for all I care. Just talk about something.
Trampolines.
It's got just random. I don't know. So it's a mind fuck for me because I do have something wrong with my heart, so that it at times will go up without me being high or anything like that. So it's like when I'm high and then it kicks in, I'm thinking, oh God, now you did it to yourself.
Man, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you though. That is what I wait for. That is what I'm hoping for every time that I dose. Like because I don't have a heart condition, so I'm not gonna, speak from that point of view. But if we were to lay it over my way, like a lot of times I have a very weak stomach, so I get sick constantly. And so if I start to feel like I'm about to get nauseous or throw up or anything, and I can tell myself in that moment when I start to get sick, oh, wait a minute, you took RSO an hour and a half ago. You're okay. You know you can get through this.
Mhm.
It's not like as soon as I'm able to connect that, I lose that anxiety. I feel like I still know it's there. I still might be dealing with pain or discomfort, like a lot of times.
The fear of the unknown. You can identify what it is, like, oh, that's the RSO. Whereas if it wasn't the RSO, what the fuck is going on?
But at the same time, though, it doesn't have to be because I just took the RSO. It could be later on, But like if I eat something and my stomach starts to hurt and I get scared, like, oh shit, I'm gonna throw up or something, I'm able to tell myself, well, hey, wait a minute, maybe it is still just the RSO or something. Like it still gives me that to hold on to, so I don't feel like I get scared.
Also how powerful our minds are, because I mean, like it is honestly, it's in my head. I mean, and then it's like I get so anxious that it triggers. I feel like my heart rate and stuff. So it's like. But then it's like, I can't, it's like such a fine line with those things of too little, too much, edibles is hard to, I feel like with me to gauge, because sometimes it's like, if you don't take too much.
I mean, I'm just going to say though, again, nobody's ever overdosed on
No, I
cannabis.
know. Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to just let yourself go.
Yeah. I guess maybe it's a control thing also for me that I don't like the whole let go all the way kind of thing. Same with mushrooms with me. You guys know I hate fucking mushrooms. So it's that sense right there with mushrooms also. So I think I have to still have that kind of control kind of thing.
I think that's so interesting that you feel like you don't have that control when you start to feel the effects or whatever. And that's when I'm like, oh shit, I know I can handle this now. That's literally like my handlebars to hold on.
It's just the difference of everybody. I don't know.
I love hearing it though. I like hearing the different ways about it. It's interesting to think like, oh shit, I guess I didn't see it from that point of view. I guess that would deter somebody or.
It's I the other day at work, I learned something that everybody does a triangle different. And I never realized something, and that kind of makes me put into perspective on how everybody views things, because he might do a triangle, a certain way. You might do a triangle your way, and it's all different, but they're all okay. Well, yes and no, like when you're doing emitters and stuff is kind of where I'm going with it kind of thing, and that's like, I'll look at a whole row and there'll be like 3 different kinds or 4 different ways that somebody did a fucking triangle, but it's all triangle,
That's what SOPs are for. Pictograms or diagrams or.
Yeah. I don't know. It shows you that everybody's got different experiences. Sorry.
What was that, Red?
Pyramids with gold with triangles? Pyramids? Gold flake pyramids?
He's still on the Fibonacci sequence, ladies and gentlemen.
We got Jay Patridge, a caveman, brought up drugs are more fun when you have no fear. And Jay Patridge says it is 20s. He could take 2 to 5 hits, and now he overthinks things. That's the thing, is it's your experiences and then your obligations and your priorities and everything start to build this like fun governor, right?
True. You're absolutely right. I do feel the older I'm getting, I'm definitely being a little more like cautious and not as free. And
I jumped out of an airplane when I was 18 years old, and I feel like I'm afraid of heights today. I do. If I go up to the nosebleeds, I get that too, where I feel like, not that I'm going to slip and fall, but I feel like if I overthink a situation and pass out, I'm really going to hurt myself or something.
That's a good thing to have. That's not a bad thing.
That thought makes me dizzy and feel like I'm going to pass out. That's the problem.
Then get your fucking ass off of the fucking edge. What are you doing?
God. We're in Colorado, and like that Rocky Mountain high is real, especially when you're down here to measly 700 feet above sea level, and you go to like 6,000 feet, and you're like, get a little bit of lightheaded, and not just that, but you're like driving a 5,000-pound truck up and down those like curves, and there's like no rail. Like, I'm not even high. I didn't hit a joint in 14 hours. You know what I mean? I'm here and I'm hitting that rocky, and I'm like freaking the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, I need to hit a joint, dude. I mean, like, I know it's not the weed, man. It's the lack of it. And I need to fucking chill out. But thankfully you get through that. The mountains get me, man. They really do. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like not so much thinking that I'm gonna lose control. It's like thinking that wow, it would be really bad if you lost consciousness right now. And that's the thought that goes through my fucking head. You know what I mean? It's like that's why I talk overactive imagination and just
Well, you got the windy roads where it's like you're going 65 and then like this is a 15-mile-an-hour curve and they mean 15 fucking miles an hour.
Yeah.
my great grandmother, she had a cat. She's Murphy, right? She had this old Maltese accent. Murphy was the cat's name, and I always think of fucking Murphy's Law, dude. And just like Ian Maxwell in Jurassic Park was the mathematician, and his fucking thing was chaos theory. And what happened in Jurassic Park? Murphy's Law took over in Jurassic Park. What could happen and fucking happened. The frog DNA went haywire, dude, and fucking they bred, right? They got out. They inevitably made it to the mainland, and all hell broke loose. So either way, what's weird is that same actor, God, what's the actor's name that played Ian Maxwell in Jurassic Park? Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
He the chaos theory man. He's actually a character.
Nice one, Becca.
He's in a show called Chaos with a K, Kaos. So put those two together, right? That's kind of funny. Jeff Goldblum in a show called Chaos. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not like promoting the show by any means. I just think it's funny that he was the chaos theory mathematician in Jurassic Park, and he's in a movie named or a show called Chaos. But anyways, I digress.
He's
slightly.
also in the movie Wicked.
He's also in the movie Fly.
You're right. Very versatile.
Versatile actor.
Does exit 153 on I-75 mean anything to anybody?
153. Where is that? Hell, that's not even that far up yet.
Or like 330.
Holy shit, that might be the Mackinac Bridge up there at 300 something.
That'd be that one, yeah. Those are the Zwocky Bridge and the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh,
And those are two bridges for a while in which I had to remember not to smoke anytime near. Because all of a sudden those intrusive thoughts come around and you're like,
do not like.
don't fall off the bridge. Don't fall off the bridge.
That's
Don't
what's
fall off the bridge.
The
Like-
Zwocky is
I
crazy.
don't like the Milwaukee one either.
Is that the
Zwocky
Saginaw one?
like so steep.
I fucking hate the Saginaw one. That one
That's the
sucks
Milwaukee.
ass so bad too.
153.
Oh
that's what
man,
I'm
that
talking
sucks
about.
so bad even to think about it right now. I mean, like I
Should
like.
have me drive a lot of times.
I would have him drive it. I know I've called him plenty of times and said, "You got to talk to me because I wanted a stupid fucking bridge again."
I've driven what?
The Zwocky Bridge. we're
No,
talking
I haven't.
It's
Oh.
the Saginaw Bridge.
We were on their way up to.
I don't know what the name of it is. It's just
We didn't go over that.
We went over the bridge.
We did that?
Yeah.
Ugh,
It's almost
Terrible.
straight up for a while, then it comes down.
it's terrible.
I have to zoom way through. You're probably not even going to get the perspective on this, but
There's
Yeah.
one down here in like it's around like the Lebanon area. What do they call it? I can't even they call it a bad name and I don't want to even repeat it because it's a bad name because people jump off of it so much. So I don't even want to repeat it.
Oh, shit.
It's a really super, super scary one. I can't even think of what it's called, but I hate going across this one too. I literally just floor that fucking car as fast as I can over it.
Yeah, that's the Zwocky Bridge.
Oh, I hate that thing. Look at that shit. Ugh.
it's 4 lanes. It's fun.
It's
Now
nice.
it is. Didn't used
The
to
part
be.
that gets
5 miles an hour.
if you're
right there,
going
too.
up like this and you can see yourself going up it, and I'm like, oh, there's one in
Scary when
Florida
it's
that's
snowing,
bad
yeah.
like that too.
Destin.
Did you go over the Mackinac Bridge?
Yeah,
Taylor?
we have gone over that a few times
Ooh,
now.
we're doing that this year.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Did you drive on the
It's so
Greats?
beautiful and it just
Greats.
hurts my heart. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. But man, if the wind is fucking blowing, just hold on to your shit.
She doesn't like when I go in the great part though.
You don't like driving on the Greats, Tara?
You're not supposed to change lanes either when you're on the bridge.
So then you're stuck on. You get on. You're like, I'm stuck. We can't
Yeah.
change lanes. On the Greats now. I feel better on the Greats just because I know it's metal. It's like
You're
No.
muted, Red.
Oh, you're muted.
We all know what he's saying, though.
The wind, you can feel the wind on the bridge. Oh yeah.
Well, good thing I was
Yeah.
muted.
No.
there's the
Everybody
Mackinac.
off anyways.
Oh,
No, I was saying, does anybody else's car feel like it's going like this?
yes,
yeah.
'cause
Great.
it is
Like you're on the grates and it's like, why am I going back and forth?
terrible. Hate
Yeah,
it.
I'm excited. I'm excited
Like,
for that one.
7
It's
miles.
gorgeous up there. Don't get me wrong. It's so beautiful, and I mean, just I obviously suck it up, Buttercup, but I do this and get across it, and sometimes I'll be really, really brave, and I'll like hold my phone out the window and be like, snap, 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 and I got my eyes all clenched.
This is what we mean by the great. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
people walking. What? Oh wait, no, it's
Yeah,
workers.
there's a-
okay.
They do it every year too. A bridge walk.
Yeah, it's the workers. So yeah, they close it off for the bridge walk, but yeah, it's and then yeah, you'll come up on like construction and stuff, or you'll be forced to go on the grates, and it's fun times.
It looked like they were pulled over.
Whoa. Yeah,
What is
no, that's
it?
construction. That's
Is it
construction.
construction? There's a
Yeah.
cop back there.
Or
like-
cleaning. I think they're cleaning up trash, maybe.
It's Michigan. Of course, there's construction.
There's
Rug.
a cop
Rug. Is that a cop? There's a
What's
guy
in the
pulled
back of the
over
truck?
on the bridge.
Oh, they're painting. There you go.
painting.
Painting the rails.
Oh yeah, nice and green. Green.
I don't
What are
know.
all
If you
those
can get up
paint
around
jobs?
Mackinac though, right now, I bet it's gorgeous. I'm sure it's like nice and icy and looking beautiful. Mackinac is gorgeous in the winter too.
Not going over that bridge anytime.
Not in the winter. We did not go over in the winter, did we? We stayed on the other side.
I'll stay on. I'll stay on this side of the bridge.
I don't remember. Did
We
we?
did once in the winter because we Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, that's right, because we did the Sault Ste. Marie thing. Yeah. Go up to Sault Ste. Marie. That's cool, especially when there's 12 foot of ice and snow in people's
No.
front yards. That's
You know
cool.
in Holland, Michigan, about how they keep their streets clear and their streets are clear and their sidewalks are always clear even if in the snow because they ran a bunch of water lines
Oh,
that get
wow.
heated by the power company, like the burning coal or whatever it is. The extra heat that's generated, they boil this water and shoot it through lines, and it's like it can keep up to like an inch an hour or a couple inches an hour.
Wow.
That's where the Tulip Festival is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Holland.
Yeah.
They
They've had,
probably pay a lot for taxes there, I bet.
Yeah.
they've had it in since the 80s.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
You-
And I'm like, why the fuck aren't we doing this everywhere in all of our cities? So they have zero plowing. That's why it caught my. That's what I was reading the thing because it was saying how they hadn't had to pay for plowing or snow removal.
That's awesome.
It's probably better on the roads too. No plows.
Yeah, no.
Well,
Or
like,
just live
salt-
like my brother does, halfway towards the south, and when it snows, the town just shuts down because their town doesn't have plows.
I mean, Cincinnati, we just on what day was it that we got all that snow? Friday? Monday? Shit, I don't even remember. Friday into Saturday. I don't remember. But Cincinnati just got 12 inches where my other house is, and then we got another 4 inches on top of that. They had a level 3 snow emergency for 2 days for Monday and Tuesday. It was Monday and Tuesday. I take that back. And so, depending on where you were and depending where you could drive, you passed through 3 or 4 counties that were level 3, so you couldn't drive through that county without if you take the chance to get pulled over. But we went to the store to get some hamburger. No hamburger, none. There was some ground lamb, but there wasn't any hamburger. I was like,
Wow.
this is ridiculous, people. And my daughter was like, does this happen in Michigan? And I was like, no. I was like, did it happen when you were in Iowa? And she's like, no. I was like, yeah. I was like, this is just dumb. But they don't get snow like that. I can't remember the last time there's been 12 inches of snow in Cincinnati. I mean, it's been a long freaking time. I know it set a record, but yeah, brought it to a standstill. I got to work though. Took me 4 hours.
And then they told her
Damn.
you could go home once they got.
Yeah, I got to work, and then they're like, I worked for like almost 2 hours, and they're like, there's not enough people here. Just go on home. So we just went on home.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's all right. Yeah, there you go.
10 inches.
Depending where you were, you definitely could have gotten up to 14 inches. Or no, that's an old one. Sorry. So, but I know out where my son is in the kind of country area, this could be because of drifts. I know that they were at like 12 inches. Now in the East area where we were, we were at 10, but then we got 4 more on top of it. You're muted.
You can keep it.
The top, like Aurora, Indiana, got I guess in the tri-state, kind of won that out. But yeah, Cleves, Ohio, Owensville, Landon, that looks like Northgate. Y'all got
Yeah,
pretty-
Owensville is pretty close to where I'm at.
Okay.
Cleves is pretty out there. That's about a 45, 50-minute drive north of me. But Kentucky got, surprisingly, Kentucky got a lot, and they don't normally get a lot of snow. Even like down in Cumberland, they really got a lot of that. And that was the other thing. It was a lot of snow, and then there was a whole round of like ice and sleet. And then there was another round of like 3 inches of snow.
Lots of good
So-
sledding hills, I bet.
Yeah, it was definitely a whole system. So it was interesting. I really didn't think it was going to happen because they forecast this shit all the time and it just never happens. So this one really panned out though. It's been cool for the kids. They've had a good time. I mean, the kids have had a blast.
A lot of snowmen, I bet.
Yeah, they've really had a lot of fun. So and they didn't have school I don't think, but one day last week.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, one day. And the other couple days they didn't have it because it was super duper cold too. So
You know what I just learned about today? Because of the snow we've been getting forecasted, and I can guarantee you no one on this panel had this available to them when they were in school. And of course, the saying, there's an app for that comes into play here. There's now an app that predicts the chance that you'll have a snow day.
wow.
Only 24% tomorrow, guys. Sorry. Like even you got to punch in like how many snow days you've already had, like what the forecast says, all this stuff.
Man, I partially remember in the mornings, like before school, we would call in to the weather station
Yep,
and we would have to listen through to see.
I remember that.
I only remember that very,
This is before TVs, huh?
didn't think I was that old.
No, this was before they showed the weather every 2 minutes. 2 minutes. They show it one time. If you missed it, you were
Oh,
fucked.
and when it just goes
Yeah, now it
across
just
the bottom,
scrolls,
like
yeah.
no schools or canceled districts, and you just missed yours.
You gotta sit and wait and watch. They're waiting, dude. I gotta go to get the bus. I gotta go wait for the bus.
No, just wait one more. It's gonna be right here. Like,
They just wait. Look at it. I don't see it
Oh,
yet. I gotta go get on the bus. What the fuck? Do I really gotta go stand in this shit and get on the bus? Are you kidding me?
Or worse, you go stand out there and you're standing out there.
We were the last.
Waiting.
It's cold and it's fucking snowing and you're like, what the fuck? Where's this bus?
Dude, Wayne County schools they didn't close for shit. They're like, y'all are going to school today.
And then wait till you get to college because that's just solely up to them. It's not like a district thing or whatever, right? And I only remember one time that we
I
had
feel like
school
never
closed for weather, and it was because there was so much ice hanging from the trees. They didn't want anybody getting impaled.
That's hilarious.
They're on top of clearing those sidewalks. And I know even like you go up to like Northern, I think, or maybe it's Michigan Tech. It's just all connected by tunnels. I think it's Tech.
My nephew went to Northern.
Is that?
My nephew went to Northern for a year or 2 years, and man, he was up there, dude.
I mean, yeah, Marquette's up there. I couldn't believe one of my best friends.
This is the crazy thing. It takes like 14 hours to get from here to Colorado. It takes like 14 hours to traverse Michigan. Like,
Yeah.
just think about that. It takes, seriously, to get up to like the tip top of Michigan, it's 12, 14 hours to get up there.
It was like Copper Harbor up there or something like that.
Yeah,
Or even like Iron Mountain, you go down to like Wisconsin way. It's still
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. It's so wild. That's just to get from down here up to the other side, up by Wisconsin.
I visited my one of my best friends in college. He went to Northern, and I was so blown away. There's just 2-story houses lining like the downtown area, right? The snow was piled so high that you could barely see the window on the second story. Like you were just looking at roofs from the street level. That's how much snow was just piled up. in front of
Other
those
houses had 2 doors, so they have a door on the first level and a door on the second level. So if you got snowed in, you just go out the door on the front.
That's probably why people had balconies, back in back when we used to
This
get
is a porch in the wintertime.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Time porch.
Some nice insulation for your now basement.
Yeah.
right there.
30 feet of snow in every direction.
Is there an ice box way up here in the second story?
We walked it in the wintertime. It was easy.
Living on glaciers back then.
Yeah, that's how you get that. That's how you get the heavy stuff upstairs. You wait till wintertime and you walk it in on the second story on the snow.
All right, I guess we'll move in our Amish furniture now.
Yeah. Put up the Christmas ornaments.
Speaking of Amish furniture and wood, my father just got a little tiny cabin, and he's got a just got himself a wood burning stove, which is one of my favorite sources of heat for my home.
That's
And
good.
so he's all excited about setting it up and testing it out. And he's like, how much does wood cost? Where I get wood? I'm like, well, go chop it down. You got a log splitter, just that's what it's
So
for,
you get a stove. You got an actual wood.
No, like an actual wood burner. And so he sets it up and he's testing it out with whatever he's got around the yard or whatever, and then finally he goes across the street to the Amish guys who, that's what they do. They just deforest their area and make, furniture and build homes and stuff. And he's like, oh no, I give it away to free to all the neighbors. So here, and he just drove over, or I guess he didn't drive it over, but I think the guy down the street like brought his forklift over. It just brought him over like several cords of wood, dumped right off. Yeah, it's all, I think it's mostly like the shavings and stuff they're not using or whatever.
Who
but
cares?
yeah, it's free freaking wood. It's free heat. You know what I mean? It's so much cheaper than propane.
Shavings. You don't even got to split it.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything, man. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Like that's the way to be resourceful. Just find an Amish friend for the scraps. Why not?
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing, and the rate they're cutting over there, man. I know they got extra.
It's wild watching them work too, because they've got down to a system. And I've seen them do not too far from here. They cut down some trees, cleared the spot, and they stacked it all in rows, and they built like a fence. At the same time that they're cutting it down, they're like sawmilling it down into boards, and they're making like split rail fences and like little pastures.
Mm-hmm.
All at the same time. As it's coming down, it's getting utilized right away. I'm like,
they built a house. It looks like a modern farmhouse. They built a house out of wood that they harvested from the land that they built the house on, and then they built a pole barn. And I think in the process they built this like pole barn, and that was their sawmill. You know what I mean? It's incredible, man. And it's sun up to sundown sawmill.
yeah. They gotta keep that blade sharp.
Oh yeah, you hear them grinding that, sharpening it and stuff. You can tell the difference. It's interesting work, man.
I'd love to have some trees on a property to forest. Yeah.
Enough to build a couple homes worth, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't need a lot. That's for sure.
I want to build one of those like saunas. You ever seen those wood cabin saunas? Like, that they just build in like the middle of the woods in the Great White North. Oh, I want that.
A wood burner in there.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Big time. Yeah, I want one of those. I want a wood burner in my greenhouse. That'd be great. I want a greenhouse big enough for a wood burner in my greenhouse.
Right. Who was it? Oh man, who was it? One of the people that, one of the Instagram growers, YouTube growers or whatever. I swear I remember seeing pictures of this. Who was it? Someone had one in their greenhouse, I think here in Michigan.
Was it a regular wood stove, or was it like a rocket stove?
No, it was like exhausted, like a regular wood burner.
So what's cool about a rocket stove is they exhaust, but you run the exhaust through a whole bunch of clay or concrete or just
just be a heat battery.
Yeah, big giant heat battery. Yeah. Before it leaves, it warms up whatever that insulation that you're using is. You can use cob, you can use tons of shit.
They burn super hot the way that they have those, and I've seen some where they were even
they burn really hot.
Recycled oil and like your used oil and shit. They were saving it and burning it in that thing because it's so hot it burns it like bust it all. Like that's impressive.
I think the humidity or lack thereof is one concern with the wood burners, right?
Yeah, it sucks.
Especially in a greenhouse.
Yeah, especially in a greenhouse. Yeah. But if you got a ton of plants,
or you got a system to just evaporate that water right off there like a sauna, it'd be hard to control.
I'll just keep water and I'll put irrigation in. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You got a bunch of stuff in there growing. Might add a lot of moisture. A bunch of lettuce or something.
Like you said, it's just got to be big enough for it, right?
So,
Put it by the koi pond in the greenhouse.
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Tied into some geothermal, dude. Yeah, we could.
I got a humidifier right next to me. It's probably gone down. It's actually 54% in here right now. I went out to the farm the other day, stayed the night out there. Man, I turned on the humidifier as soon as I got there. I had a little bit of weed hanging, and it was 35 or 38% humidity. I'm like, so low. So I turned on the humidifier, dude, for like, I don't know, I went and smoked a joint or something, unpacked and whatnot, and I go back in there, dude. I'm like, it's a cloud in this room. It's just a storage room and a drying room, and I only had like one little hanger of like some bottles hanging that from some personal, and it's just a cloud in this room, and I can't even see across the room. I'm like, what the fuck? I look at my humidity control; it's 95% humidity.
Yeah.
It's like dripping off walls and shit.
I'm like, I'm going for like 10% right outside because in the shop, you know, like breathing in water. I'm like, my lungs are like,
Enjoy some pneumonia.
and I'm all like, oh shit, what am I doing to my lungs? I'm gonna get pneumonia, right? So I ran in there, unplugged it real quick, and ran out. I'm like, fuck, I'll come back here in 20 minutes when it's 50%. I turned on the dehumidifier real quick and just wasted all the fucking water I put back in the air. And
I thought for sure you're gonna tell me you overfilled a res or something.
no. I generally don't do that often. I don't do that often. It just so happened it was the conversation the night where I overflowed 3 reservoirs. So it was a fluke, I swear. And it hasn't happened in this room that many times because, well, I don't have a reservoir in this room anymore, and it's no longer a grow room. So that works out is even better. So I haven't flooded my garage in a really long time, garage being below me. Yeah, that was always a good one. I should probably fix the tape and get some joint compound down there on that ceiling. But the humidity, if you are in a state like Michigan right now, if you're wondering why stuff's not growing right, if you're wondering why, I did this once. I actually replaced an air conditioner in the wintertime because I wasn't getting any condensate out of the air conditioner. I thought it was broken. The air conditioner was working fine. It was making it cold. But I was like, it's not pulling any humidity out of the air. It must be broken. Just because I had no idea of anything. I didn't know shit. You know what I mean? I just knew that it used to dump water and I'd have to dump the water once a day. You know what I mean? And now it's not dumping water. No, it was just fucking January. And so I went and got a new humidifier thinking it was broke, and it still didn't really dump water. And it just kind of dawned on me that it just wasn't. Did I say humidifier? I got a new air conditioner.
Air conditioner, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just no humidity this time of year. You need to add humidity if you can. I'm in a room where we keep a lot of our storage, a lot of our cannabis stored. And so if it's 38% in here, I mean, jars, they do a decent amount. But if you're cracking jars or trying to cure and you don't have stuff sealed up, stuff will look crispy overnight in these humidity levels, man. It's wild how fast that air just pulls moisture out of everything, including us, you know.
Yeah. Chapped lips, all the good fun stuff.
Dude. Yeah, dry skin, all that.
Test Nugs in chat says something about you'll have no humidity, you need a blue flame heater. They create a gallon moisture per hour. Now that would concern me. Too much moisture, honestly.
A blue flame heater. Interesting. What creates a blue
comment earlier that I wanted to bring up?
Or does it heat water? Oh, is it a hydrogen heater? Is it cooking water? Be interesting.
JMJ12 said, good news. There's a study on driving and cannabis released here in Victoria, Australia, I believe. Results were no detected effect on the driver compared to a standard observations. With long-term uses, they've showed much better results. They were more aware. And he said all in the trial were registered med users. They showed no negative difference from standard non-medical drivers. So essentially saying medical users are non-impaired drivers. That's cool to see.
Hell yeah. You said that's an Australia study?
Yeah, which is good too, because Australia doesn't really have the greatest legalization yet either.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to go back and reference that study. We have a study similar to that in Michigan where they basically showed cannabis doesn't impair, and the state police have tried to use impairment as a way to OWI medical patients and things like that very similarly, and because of those studies you can't OWI medical patients and et cetera. So yeah, those same studies have really helped out here in Michigan. I don't know if any other states are able to reference our studies, but the Michigan State Police did a few of them.
Yeah.
If you're able to reference those, if you're having issues, have your people take a look at those. Yeah.
I wonder where they are with that program. I know they had a pilot program of a
The sniffer?
yeah, the sniffer thing that it was a breathalyzer for cannabis use or something.
I remember hearing about that recently, but I also remember hearing about that, my goodness, in like 2015 or something like that, or like an incredibly long time ago. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, but it was a long time ago.
I know they had a pilot program, but then they were talking about expanding it to the rest of the state, but I don't know if it ever went or didn't went. I just haven't heard anything else about it.
Sounds like it's a lagging technology there. This is
Yeah, and
it's like
it was trying to prove like you smoked within the last X amount of time or something. I don't know how it's going to do that.
it's like that Thanos. Elizabeth Holmes said that she could develop and made a shit ton of money and ended up not actually being a thing.
Yeah, I don't know much about that story. I didn't watch too much about that one.
Really crazy story. Novel is called Bad Blood. I don't know who wrote it, but it's about Elizabeth Holmes. She was obsessed with Steve Jobs to the point where she would dress like him, wear like, the collar and the glasses and everything. And she did this crazy thing where she actually got government contracts and so much investment money that she was like one of the richest women in the world.
I know this story.
She's the one with the things in the Walgreens.
Yeah. And she developed this machine. She claimed to have developed this machine that would be able to test for all elements with a single drop of blood. And it got so far that they actually built model Walgreens and they put her machine in there. And she was paying off testing facilities left and right to get corrupt data, and her people were corrupting the data, etc. She was corrupting the data, whatever was going on with the data, it wasn't right. But she was getting government contracts, dude. She was getting, Walgreens had invested in her, like everything. She had some money in this thing, and it ended up all being fucking fake, dude. All of it being fake.
All of it was bogus.
All of it was bogus. And thankfully, she ended up getting caught, you know what I mean? Because think about how much of this shit goes on that don't get caught, how much of our how much whatever it is out there. I mean, I don't know the name of the company that Becca uses for a diabetes monitor, but imagine like that type of technology being released and it having all fake data behind it, you know what I mean? Where this is monitoring her blood pressure. This was supposed to be something that was supposed to streamline all of medicine, everything. It was supposed to tell it was basically a diagnostic check for anybody. You could just go into Walgreens, get hooked up to a blood pressure machine, they'd prick your finger and then run it through a scanner, and it would come out and tell you if you have cancer, if you're depleting in whatever mineral, like it would tell you anything, and then it would give you the recommended. Basically, it was going to put probably doctors out of jobs. Who knows what the fuck it was going to do? Crazy technology to even think about to exist. If it's possible, I don't know if it's possible. It's crazy, but anyways, yeah, that's how far some people are willing to take.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, they're fake it till you make it. Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of her biggest thing, though, was that she kept taking other software that was similar to what she was trying to do. And she would take it and just have her developers copy it, piece for piece. And it got to the point where the developers were like, we can't just take their, information or their personal, whatever it's called. And she just took it and used that exact device and put a different outside cover on it. So she didn't even know how it worked and stuff, and was trying to pass it off.
Oh my god!
And these results were giving negatives when people had positive results for certain things, and positives on negative things. So people thought that they were dying of these ailments and going to get treatments.
I think somebody did get sick and die. Didn't somebody actually die and not get something?
I want to say there was something with that they had gotten told that they didn't have an ailment, like they got a no or a clean health, and then they ended up actually having something. I don't remember how she got caught. I know that there was a series.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it's on Netflix or something.
Yeah, there was a series on Netflix, and there's one that's like a fictional portrayal as well, a docu-series.
Like some normal old girl too, you'd never even like.
She went to I want to say Harvard or something. It was a intelligence school, and she was in it for like
super fucking smart. That's the thing. I think she just got in over her head.
She dropped out.
They just thought she was so great, and she could just do it.
Was it like UCLA or something? The Yale or UCLA?
It was a really big name school.
Yeah, it was definitely a big name school.
Like where you go to.
Yeah, I never saw that.
I think when she dropped out, though, I don't think that she was actually doing well in her classes, and I think that's kind of why she took it to drop out, because she was able to play it as, well, I have this great idea, and I don't need to waste my talent in this. So I don't know how she made it into that school, but I think there was even controversy on how she got to that place.
It was like
I locked him out.
Like 2018 or 2019, went on a road trip to my buddy's wedding in New York, and we put that on audiobook and listened to that for an audiobook. Dude, I drove there and back the same day. Fucking drove like 20 fucking hours and went to a wedding. It was fucking crazy, and listened to that. You know what I mean? Like, that was my day. It kept me up, dude. I was mind blown. I was like, I think
she is still incarcerated currently, but she's in a facility that's like, I want to say we're fucking like Martha Stewart wing, somewhere cozy.
That came out before
Martha Stewart went away for $56,000 in fraud. This lady went away for like at least $500 million in fraud.
What I'm saying is, though, she's not, in my book, technically serving any type of sentence for kind of what she deserves. You know?
Yeah.
Theranos.
Yep. Theranos. I want to share something on topic, other than the fact that as of
different machine, but it's good. It was a good segue, I suppose.
As of I mean, this is tangentially here, but the December 30th was the, I believe, final payout for the victims of the Bernie Madoff scandal, which started 16 years ago. Something like, well, I'm going to get the numbers wrong. I want to say it was like $42 billion or something was redistributed over a decade. I might be wrong on those numbers. Maybe it was like 4 billion, but either way, we've got an article here that was posted on X 3 days ago by our friend Superior Buds. And it's about a little bit on the same topic. So I'm just going to read it to you real quick. It's called The Herbs Now Dryer is a Ripoff. Back in October 2019, I purchased the Herbs Now USA dryer to run a side-by-side test for the harvest for my wife's tent. I didn't believe their marketing, but as I said at the time, for $150, I'm willing to give it a whirl and compare the results. They were cheaper back then. So he just posted a screenshot of his payment, $163.98. I assume that's tax, shipping, whatever. So here's a screenshot of a post from 273 weeks ago with the harvest from Miss Bud's tent happening today. We decided to give my Herbs Now cannabis dryer a go. We're going to split the harvest with a little bit of going in the dryer and the rest hanging in the tent with the environment dialed in, I assume, like they normally do. I generally don't buy in all the new hype, and their marketing leaves a bit to be desired, but for $150, I'm willing to give it a whirl and compare the results. So shortly after posting my results to IG and blasting his company as frauds, his account on IG and his website both vanished. I had a bunch of data from multiple sensors / test runs, and I knew this thing was junk. But he was no longer taking advantage of the community, so I never went any further. I guess I could blow this up a little bit for you guys. Fast forward 5 years, and he's resurfaced, selling the same machine and passing it off as something he's designed specifically to dry cannabis. And just like last time, he has a whole new batch of growers to fleece and influencers willing to shill. Now, don't get me wrong, I love entrepreneurship, but only if they are bringing value to the community. If you're simply repackaging something, marketing it as your own while putting on a green tax on it, then that's not being an entrepreneur, that's being a scammer. And it's even worse when your product doesn't do what you claim it does. Ignoring the mountain of data I have beside me, proving this thing has no intelligence, let's go ahead and open this thing up so we can take a look at what you're really buying. So he's got a couple pictures here where he literally opens it up. He pulls out the control board or whatever this thing is, some electrical wiring stuff that he understands way more than I do. But so here we see a fan in the middle, 2 control boards, timer and power, and leads for a very small heating element. Let's take a closer look at these control boards, shall we? Power board model GNS dash blah, 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 blah. Control board model GNS dash blah, 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 blah. The circuit boards are nothing special, but what stands out is that each of them have a specific model numbers silkscreen on them. Let's look them up and see where they come from. I was able to find some replacement parts on a few different Russian sites, for example, which I'm not going to click on, but both of these say they are replacement boards for the Polaris PFD 1905, a Russian food dehydrator. Let's take a look at that unit. So there it is. Does that not look suspiciously similar?
It does.
And there you go. Literally the same unit. Your cannabis-specific dryer is nothing more than a green tax, Russian-made, discontinued food dehydrator. Sorry, but superior. Who cares if it works? To anyone saying this unit helps them dry their cannabis, I say you're doing the majority of the work. All this unit is really doing is containing your humidity in a smaller space and powering a fan. There are no sensors, no smarts, and you can reproduce this with a cardboard box and PC fan for under $5. You don't need a $200 piece of equipment to do it. Thoughts?
I mean, I always, I always thought it was just a food dehydrator. I know that he's had claims that it did very specific settings or temperatures and things. I'm not necessarily one to want to speed up the process.
Exactly.
Like I said, it's super dry. Super dry here. It's 30% humidity right now. And when that weed dries in 3 days, it's not the same quality weed as when it dries in 2 weeks. And I don't know.
I've never used it.
And this isn't just for home growers. This is commercial too, for commercial people that think, speeding your shit up is gonna, get you a faster turnaround time, this and that. This kind of situation does not.
Is there only one? Is it just one fan on the bottom and then you like layer trays and trays?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they work. You can put
Airflow, is air supposed to, does it come up like a center? Is airflow evenly distributed through?
It's supposed to be through the center and then circulate around is what in my concept of what the general idea of what I've got.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
on myself, but I've talked. Eagle Gardens is a big fan. I remember he used one. I don't know if he still does.
I know Abolish was using them for
Bro is a big proponent of it. He's always talking it up. I've never used one myself, so I can't say one way or another.
I've always grown at least a 4x4 and harvested a 4x4, and I can't see that thing. I mean, I need a closet for a 4x4. I at least need a 2x4 foot. I need a 2x4 to dry a 4x4, essentially. At least I would much rather have a 4x4 space to dry a 4x4. I mean, 1 or 2 plants. I mean, a plant is, you're looking 4 to 6 to 8 ounces. I don't know if I'm going to fit 8 ounces in that thing.
I know that's kind of impossible. Well, not impossible, but it's not possible for everyone. But the best drying space you have is the room you grew your weed in.
I agree.
And
you already have
disagree.
holes.
Maybe not the best, but in most people's cases, especially home growers, that's going to be the case. Now that takes away, of course, maybe 2 weeks or so, or up to, I should say, of time that you could otherwise be growing, right? So that sucks because you can't be growing while you're drying your
being
plants
like
in the same room. But
Out the year too, yeah.
yeah, so it's, it does have that effect. But if you're not in a rush, if you're not in a commercial facility,
I mean, you could at least put up a tent somewhere. I mean, for God's sakes, why would you sacrifice your flower?
I appreciate that Superior looked into the actual
Parts.
yeah, the actual parts though, and was able to pull up, the similar make and model. I think that's
when it's printed right on the thing, man, anybody could do that. All you do is, get a screwdriver and
I didn't know you could do that.
Well,
now I've learned something.
Right.
There's also this is also real. I don't like to defend anybody that I have met the guy behind Herbs Now at Hash Bash. I met him for a little while.
We had him on Let's Be Buds and had a conversation with him where he kind of talked about how he, I want to say, adjusted the sensors and stuff to make it specific for cannabis.
But at the same time, working at Grandmaster LEDs, being exposed to the Chinese market and the lengths you have to go to not get your product stolen and immediately copied. Just knowing, just off to the side, that one of the interests that I have is the Ukraine and the ongoing war in Ukraine and Russia, and seeing how much China is helping Russia, it does not surprise me to see that a product that is made in China, I'm assuming, I don't know if Herbs Now is made in China, but I'm assuming it probably is. And if it's not, obviously its parts are. And for it to be cloned.
These are, he stated they're discontinued Russian dehydrators or whatever, right? So that means that, the China probably bought them and then repackaged them or something like that for him. I don't know if he's getting them direct. I don't know how his process works. I've never met the guy. I'm not even sure I knew this product existed till today when I got sent this article.
Really? Oh, I did.
They used to sell them out of a grow store here in Jackson for a while.
It was very popular, I feel like, for a good portion of a time, I feel like. But,
I must have had tents too early.
It just depends on what you were after, trying to achieve with your grow process, drying process, for, what your end product needed to be, I guess, is why you would use something like this. So,
And it's for a smaller scale too, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he needs to reinvest in the new one and break it down for us.
There you go.
Maybe.
There you go.
Or Emily, now you know how to do it.
Yeah, I haven't found any need for it. My thing is, though, is another thing is I just don't want to rush a good thing. How about that?
I don't even care about it speeding it up. I've looked into it because I suck at drying. It is the one thing that I fail at every time. It will, for some reason, always turns into hay. Well, aside from coming here and having a fucking room already set up,
that helps.
Like that helps a lot. So I absolutely looked into it. It seemed like a great choice, not that big of counter space, for just a simple home grower.
I just always feel like the drying process should be just as a time thing. It shouldn't be rushed. It should just give it some time, give it some air, give it some space.
You know what I think? I think that I think the most important thing when it comes to drying and curing is don't seal up your cannabis into a jar when it's still wet. That's going to give you hay. If you have a lot of stem going in there and a lot of leaf getting all sealed up together, especially if there's a lot of moisture in that stem, if your stems are green, if your stems have not faded to that color that it is when it's a month old, it's not ready. Like I can tell by the color of my stems if they're ready or not to be sealed up. And it doesn't happen in a couple days. It happens over a period of time. And if I seal it up too fast, you will get that hay smell because it's just too much moisture in there.
Or if there's too much, or what you seal up to, you're where you're sealing it up at. If there's too much packed in, that's one thing I told him. Our last harvest, he had went through everything, put everything in our 5-gallon buckets like we do. And there was like a few jars though that we kept out of our Good Bud and that, the tops and that. And he, we used the really big good quart ones, not the quarts, but what was the half gallons? The big
Half gallon, yeah.
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 And a few of them, he like put too much in it. And like, as soon as I opened it, I was like, yo, there's way too much in here. You got to fucking back this shit out of here. So
How much headspace do you need? Like 20%, 25%?
Probably 25%.
yeah,
would be
at
safe.
least,
If you're curing, I mean, yeah, you don't want to fill.
No.
Yeah.
No, and it's my even kind of a like you pick it up, kind of give it a shake kind of thing. If you can't give it a good shake, you got too much in there. Just
Yeah.
get some out of there.
I'll
They
pack.
need to be able to like roll over each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll
What
pack
about a Canatrol? Do you guys?
Sure.
Well, I wanted, before we move on, I wanted Genetic Memory Farms. Here's somebody that uses one. He says, I have 2 herbs now dryers and have tested them in multiple conditions. They lower the relative humidity in the unit by 10 to 15%. Besides the surrounding, so like it depends on where you're using it too, I guess. So you have to have it in it sounds like a room that's pretty close to the parameters you want anyway. It's just going to lower it about 10 to 15%. So you want that room probably be around 50% or 60%, I would say. Like any kitchen tool, he says, just learn to use it, and it works great. And Testnug says, I've tested them. You wouldn't know the difference. I don't use them. Guy just won a cup on Future Cannabis Project. So it's like I keep hearing these good results. I haven't used it myself. I can't mimic those results because I haven't used it and say that it works. But I mean, I'm a little
I'm
interested.
just not in a situation where I need to use it kind of thing. So I guess that's where I'm not needing to look into it kind of thing for myself in our situation.
I don't know what it's sitting at price wise now, if it's around like the $200 mark. I know it still is one of the more reasonably priced, financially manageable tools out there. But it's definitely something that I've looked into and that I'd look into, again, if I struggle with drawing, because that's something that I haven't been able to tackle yet. And so like, if a handful of runs and I can't get it right, well, why am I growing bud and it all turning the same, like it's all ending up the same product at that point. Then I want to figure out a new way or a different, way to try it. So I still think it's a good choice.
The big major thing I didn't like about it is you have to cut the buds off the stems and put them on trays. That's going to give you some flat spots. So I guess if you go and maybe turn the buds every day, maybe you wouldn't get flat spots. But I also have a room.
What we're talking about.
So he must have got it redone. If it's obviously not all still discontinued parts, if he's got it made in green now, it's a new thing.
It looks like it's the same part, the same design. It's obviously got an
Same
upgraded
design, yeah. It must have
upgraded trays, maybe.
redone. But so I mean, I'm seeing an application for somebody who I've put weed in the microwave before. I was a new grower and I didn't have any weed and I didn't want to call the weed dude. I was the only weed dude that I knew. And I was like, oh my God.
Have we tried the air fryer?
That's interesting. Yeah, those weren't around back then, but I have tried the microwave, and I would say that if you need to speed up your drying, that's better than a microwave. Microwave's 10 seconds. I mean, you can't.
I was 16 years old using a microwave, and I got fucked. My friend and I's parents beat the shit out of us for doing that.
Oh, did your microwave get stinky?
Oh, we fucked up the house.
With like a paper bag or a fucking cardboard box or something.
Yeah, it was
I
nuts.
had a little porcelain plate. Put a couple little buds on there. I was like, I don't want to do it. Just a couple little bottoms. They weren't ripe or anything, dude. I got high as shit.
We got Subway bags, the old plastic Subway bags full of weed, and we're like, how are we gonna get this able to smoke? How are we gonna do this? I mean, this is 2 stupid girls back in high school, so we thought we would stick it all in the microwave. Not a good idea.
I mean, at least it eliminates time off the drive. Somebody, if you need it. So there's that.
We didn't get to smoke it. We got in trouble. We didn't get to smoke it. Probably wasn't that good either. Probably burnt off all them derps.
Yeah, the THC was still there.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, got high off of something. Something was there. Maybe the clothes.
Oh, the stupid things you do, huh?
Really good.
I'd give it a
Sorry,
shot if I had like a little plant or something. I don't know. I'd grow it. I'd use it for like drying herbs, actual herbs. You know.
Well, it is the herbs now dry.
maybe it does have its function. In any case, guys, I appreciate you joining the show tonight. Got any questions, drop them in the comments below after the show, and we'll see you guys next week. Anybody got anything to plug before we peace out?
Third Eye Craft Fair, the 25th of January, and
Join me for a craft night on the 30th.
And join us both on Wednesday, and let's be buds.
There you go. Hey. Cheers, everybody.